hold on, guys, because it says that we're not on Facebook.
You're not on Facebook.
Yeah, it says we're having trouble streaming to Facebook. This may be an issue on Facebook's end. Is it possible the stream was ended or deleted on Facebook? Hmm. All right. So we might have to try this again. Let's see.
Let me check something real quick.
It's
I'll tell you
supposed
if it's on,
to
I'll
be.
tell you if it's on your end or it's definitely on your end.
Yeah.
I want to try to reboot it.
Yeah. We'll save changes here and see what we can do. So we're
Well,
trying.
you got two viewers now. We're live somewhere.
Oh, we're just now on Facebook. It says check mark. So let's try this again on yours. So we're gonna remove yours, remove, and we'll try this again. Well, that's quite the welcome here. So people are probably thinking, what the heck are we watching?
Yeah, we're live now, so
Oh, we're live. All right.
yep.
So, all right.
This is AEW technology. We're not the WWE.
Yeah, it's Danhausen. He cursed us. But anyways, guys. So it is still not wanting to go to National Compacts, but you said we're on Facebook, though.
Yeah, we're on your page.
Okay, well, Drew, we're going to remove National Compacts because it wants to be frustrating. But well, that's quite the welcome. So again, guys, welcome to the Monday Night Rewind. It is maybe, I don't know, weird stuff, but be sure to check in and let us know that you can hear us and see us. Sheldon, we are on YouTube. I do know that for sure, but it sounds like we're on Facebook. We're not on National Compact tonight for some reason. It is not wanting to connect, but at least we're on the Top Row Racing Media Facebook as far as I can tell if we've confirmed that. So I haven't seen anyone pop in the comments yet, but again, you can confirm. Other than that, good. Yeah.
I'm watching us on Top Row Racing Media.
Okay. All right. I mean, I was editing for 24 hours, everything, right? So of course it's when I'm tired that it wants to give some frustration where it's like, it's going to test my patience here. And like I said, I'm just tired from 24 hours straight. So I finally went to bed at 9 a.m. this morning after everything was uploaded to YouTube. So I'm like, I don't have time for this to be frustrating. But anyways, let's talk about who we have tonight. So the first guest that we have coming up in just a few minutes is Evan Verduin from Verduin Racing Eazy-E. And then things are going to get a little wild and crazy over here, where we have Frank Gasko coming on at 7:35 from Classic Rock 97.7, Russell's M40 Speedway. And for new Paris fans, the Mexibilly. If you're a Night of Destruction fan, you know all about him. But Frank has done other racing and does a lot of other things. So excited to talk with him. And then we were supposed to have Rich Bull tonight to make a huge announcement, and he still wants to make that announcement. But he's getting ready to go to Florida, and he has a lot of things to do, including cars to get ready because they don't get back until next week, and racing starts next week, and he's out to chase a championship. So he said, hey, man, hate to do this to you, but can we reschedule? I don't even know that I'll be home. So I said, sure, absolutely. So then I reached out to Tyler Hufford, who just won convincingly on Saturday over at the Russell's M40 Speedway, and he's a former champion at Corrigan Oil Speedway. So he'll be on at about 8:05. So again, we have quite the lineup, and just to give people an idea of what to expect coming up on April 13th, we have Aaron Hapner fresh off of the Night of Destruction at the New Paris Speedway, the New Paris Shark. Everybody knows when the Shark lines up and ready to come out because the crowd will let us know that the Shark has arrived. And so we have Aaron Hapner. He'll be there. He's also raced front-wheel drive Hornets over at New Paris from time to time. And then another front-wheel drive racer, we have DJ McCotter, who kind of took the opposite pathway with Six Never Quits. He started in the Night of Destructions at South Bend, fell in love with it, and decided to go weekly racing. And so he will be on at 7:35, 6:35 his time. We'll have a central... We'll go to the central time zone from DJ McConnor on, and then we have the Midwest Truck Series from Wisconsin who'll be joining us at 7:05 their time, 8:05 our time over here in Michigan and most of Indiana. And then by popular demand on April 27th, we have Ron Varash part 2. There will probably be a part 3 because he has a lot to talk about. And then we'll also have on May 4th. Oh, wait, did I say April? No, that's the 20th. Never mind. I thought I messed up. Okay, April 27th. So 420. Anyone want to LOL that one, right? 420. was that, and then April 27th we'll have Ron Brash Part 2, like I said, from Stock Car Extreme, and then on May 4th, the 4th will be with us at Hartford, where Tim Dibble will be joining. So again, we have quite the lineup that is coming up on the Monday Night Rewind. Again, usually live at 7 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube, but tonight Facebook wanted to give us a little bit of a headache, but we're live, numbers are climbing. So we have Buju, owner of Bullring Chronicles. We have Jude Jack, owner of National Compact Touring Series, Midwest Compact Touring Series, Great Lakes Memorabilia, Great Lakes Promotions, and Race Reach Media. And then, of course, myself, Lewis, owner of Top Row Racing Media. So now that we got all the bugs and kinks worked out, how are you guys doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Doing all right. Still recovering from this weekend, and it never stops because now we're working on Kalamazoo's Intimidator 100 and trying to prepare for the race season that's here. So
Yeah, I'm still buzzing from a good show on Saturday. I'm excited for the Intimidator on Friday. I'll be up there watching. So yeah, we're finally in race season now.
Oh, well, and I'm excited because the sound worked. I finally got the sound to connect to the PA at M40. I spent a few extra dollars that I could figure out and find out, and we got that to work. So again, hopefully all season we'll have then the PA system directly going into my videos, and so it seemed to work out well. People are complimenting it, and then they're like, "Man, we wish you were doing this a while," but it's like it takes time and money, to get there, and especially money to get these things. But that was like a $13 part, and so I'm like, I could do that, and so that sound came out just nice. But like I said, 24 hours of editing, pushing through minus 15 minutes for dinner. I'm like, I'm exhausted. So I just keep waiting for like thunder and lightning to start hitting us while we're on the show. But with that said, since we are a few minutes behind here, we ready to jump right in and get Evan on?
Yes, sir.
All right, and then my graphics were out of order on the other side, so we were showing Evan for a little bit. But anyways, let's bring on Evan Verduin. So again, Evan, welcome to the Monday Night Rewind.
Thank you for having me.
So for those who don't know who you are, that's my favorite question that I always like to start off with before we start shooting from the hips, a name in second. Who are you? For those who don't know who you are, other than you have a really popular viral street stock all the time.
Yeah, so street stock racer up in northern Indiana for the most part. Sometimes venture up into the Michigan tracks. Looking to that hopefully a little bit more this year. Buju's repping the shirt tonight.
Well, you've raced at New Paris, Kalamazoo too. So when you came up to Kalamazoo, what was that like when you came up north?
Kalamazoo's a real fun track. I just can't figure it out. That track stumps me all the time. None of my family's raced there, so we go in there blind a lot, just hoping for the best.
And that's the thing that's so nice about Kalamazoo and interesting. I hear that from a lot of drivers. I've heard it from like Austin Maynard, who obviously, he won at freaking Bristol Motor Speedway and did pretty well with the CRA Street Stock group. But he's even struggled a little bit up there, and he's won too. He's certainly had success, but there's a lot of people, they say if you can win at Kalamazoo or do well at Kalamazoo, you can be pretty successful in other places too. So I know it's always fun when you come up there to Kalamazoo, just because I don't get to watch you race as often as I would like to. But when you come to New Paris, like that last year, you did Flagger Boy for the first time. What was that like? Because you made that high side work that nobody else was.
Yeah, New Paris was like one of the funnest races I've ran all that season. Never being there and then somehow making the top work, which isn't really, New Paris ain't notorious for that. I had no idea what I was doing going in there, but I knew I was in a transfer spot, but the door opened to possibly get the win, so I had to take it.
Yeah, Jason Seltzer, I don't know if you remember, but I think he got on Facebook right away or commented somewhere. He said, you just went, I forget his exact quote, but he was like, you just did something that a lot of people don't do at New Paris, and you just stuck it up top. And when that caution came out, I tell people like Scott Gates is in here, and he was racing for the lead on Saturday. And obviously I support him. I'm friends with him. But when I'm at the track, I'm neutral. And because, I'm the video guy, I don't want someone thinking that I have bias. But obviously there are people who internally I'm supporting and internally I'm rooting for. And when that caution came out, I went, this is not what I wanted. But, And obviously you got the win there, but I'm like, "Ugh, this is not how that was supposed to go." But I had to be neutral, because I'm cheering you on up top. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, when that caution came out, I remember I went like that, and I was like, Lewis has got the camera in my car still. I can't be acting like again.
Yeah, sometimes people forget that. Makes it fun for me to watch though, or sometimes when I have to make the sound go away, people are like, "What was said?" I know, but I'm not telling. Like there's quite a bit that I catch on camera that sometimes people are like, "Well, you'll have to edit this part out." And I said, if I got well, I guess you can't do pennies anymore, but if I got a nickel, for every time I was told that, I might actually be able to fund everything 100%. So, like it happens all the time. So, but that you could still see a little bit of your reaction though on that, from the onboard camera, because that was something that up top I'm like, this is not what we needed right now. But you got it, and you were already in that transfer spot. I mean, you were hooked in. So other than feeling frustrated with caution, what was it like going through your head where you're like that, right? I kind of think like the Hornet race a few years ago where I think you had missed qualifying or whatever, had to come in late, got put at the tail, and you're racing the hell out of that Hornet, and the next thing you come around and they're like, "Here's a speeding ticket." It's like when you're that close.
Yeah, that one was rough. That one would have been my first feature win in a big car at South Bend.
Yeah.
Just never got that feature win yet, but
Yes. Well, do you want to talk a little bit about your family history at South Bend? Because again, you did mini wedges there, like you raced mini wedges. Then you moved on to Hornets and then street stocks, but your family history goes way deep at South Bend.
yeah. So my grandpa started racing there. My great grandpa started racing there a long time ago, and he's kind of made a name for himself, like just throughout our family, talking about him, sharing about him driving the tow truck for years there. And then my dad raced there, my uncle raced there, cousins, all of them. And then obviously I picked it up too. I started there in mini wedges in 2020, I think it was. And Hornets, street stocks. Hopefully I'm able to keep going there. Hopefully the track keeps going. Hopefully we get to live on a little bit longer there for future generations to see it.
So I know Evan a little better than everyone else here, and I was trying to do a quick head count on how many family members he has that race in South Bend that have raced at South Bend. I lost count at about 12, I think. So the family history runs pretty deep for Evan. And I know the history is important to you, Evan, because me and you were part of cleaning up South Bend last year to get it back in shape to have shows. So I know that place has a lot of meaning to you, but you are looking to branch out a little more. So with that race at South Bend next month that you're looking forward to, what else are you looking forward to on your schedule beyond maybe just your home tracks this year?
Well, like you said, definitely South Bend. Obviously, I gotta run the big shows that I can. Like Flagger Boy at New Paris. I have to go back to it after last year. That was so fun. Hopefully, I can go up to Kalamazoo for something. Raber Rumble probably isn't in the books for me because it's on a Wednesday, and I know that's gonna be a struggle for a lot of people with work and.
Yeah, you're a working man now.
Yeah, rough. I don't know how people do it now.
He's about a month employed, so it's beating him down.
Come on now.
Well, do you want to talk a little bit for those who don't know, right? Because you've helped paint the wall again at South Bend when that refresh is coming. I know for those who may not know, because I know there are people who follow South Bend and follow Plymouth and all that, and I know quite a few people who are disenfranchised from all of that with some different reasons, and so people may not know what's going on. But I know the track was just announced for sale. Both tracks are announced for sale again. That until it sells, that they'll racing will continue. There's no alterations, but again, you have even more of a personal connection with that, not only with your family, even all the way back to the tow truck days, right? But and then racing there, but you help paint the wall. You've done a lot where you are like you're personally invested.
Yeah, when we went and helped paint the wall, that's originally what it was just supposed to be. We were just going to go paint the wall. That turned out to be a whole lot more work than we thought it was. We just were like, oh, we're just going to touch it up. no, we painted the whole thing because we got picky and wanted it to look perfect. I'm glad we did. It still looks pretty decent after the NODs and stuff. Then we ended up replacing bleacher boards and touching up paint on the outside stuff of the track and really anything we could clean up, pick up. We shoveled dirt out of the backstretch grandstands. We were getting so picky. Like, I think we helped it come back a lot.
So now I'm gonna interrupt here, so it doesn't look like I'm a bump on a log here. So I ask a lot of questions to a lot of different drivers. But got some great home tracks around your area: Plymouth, South Bend, New Paris. Those are home. If you had an opportunity to race somewhere, where is a track that you'd want to go to that you would not get to race in this region?
Man, I don't know. Like, maybe Owasso or Berlin. Those seem like some really different tracks. Owasso has a really professional setting too. Like, they have a big name. Berlin, I heard, is really hard. But they have a lot of big events there. That'd be just something cool to race on the same track that a lot of these big guys have. Just kind of see what they've been through.
Now with the lighter side of things, what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you on the racetrack or at a racetrack?
And
now you got me thinking too.
No, I know what this one is here. In my first year of street stocks, I believe it was Scotty Gardner driving Rich Bull's street stock, and somebody else wrecked. They got into a big wreck, and I'm new to street stocks. It's probably like my fourth night in it, maybe. And I just got out of Hornets, so they stop real quick. They're real light. You can slam on the brakes and still turn. Street stocks don't do that. So I got on the brakes and tried to turn, and I just plowed right into them. I was in the back all by myself. I looked like an idiot afterwards. Beat myself up for a little bit. That was a really rough night, but I learned not to do that ever again.
One other quick question, then I'll turn it back over to the boys. So you have a lot of history in your racing family, a lot of mentors. So let's think outside of the box of your family racing. Who is something that you idolize other than your family growing up and watching races? It can be short track, nationally.
So a big one, like local track wise, was Brian Ross. I used to he was my go-to guy all the time when I was younger, when the Outlaws ran. I was always pulling for him. Nationally, I was a big Jimmy Johnson fan. So NASCAR wise, he was definitely my guy there, or dirt track wise, even Scott Bloomquist was my guy.
That's pretty cool that you mentioned Scott Bloomquist, because as an asphalt racer, not many would mention that, and he certainly got a chance to meet him at Kalamazoo. He's a very tall fellow, I will give you that.
Yeah, I've met him at Bristol Dirt. That was pretty cool. At least I got to meet him before that,
All right, so now that I got you thinking, Buju, ask some questions. Think outside the box.
When Andy asked what track would you like to run, I was waiting for an Eldora or something like that, because I know how big of a dirt fan you are. But
I was thinking realistically what I got right now.
Fair enough.
But
fair enough.
In the future, dirt car's definitely in the books.
Sounds fun to me. What was the inspiration for your number? You run number 72. What was the inspiration behind that?
There really was no inspiration. How I came up with it, I remember me and my dad were on our way home from getting a go-kart body from, I think it was like M&M chassis. I remember their logo was M&M something. But we were thinking of numbers, and I was like, oh, I want to run number 3 because, my uncle ran number 3, and Dale Sr. and all that. It's such a well-known number in short track racing. And he was like, no, you need to pick something that not many people have, make it your own. I said 72, put it on my go-kart, and just stuck with it ever since.
Well, do you want to give a little bit of the history, too, of even the street stock that you're racing and how that all came to be? Because for a lot of people, right, that's a pretty famous street stock that you're racing, and it may not look like the pictures that it looked like in the past.
Yeah, so my dad originally built that car. That was his first race car. And then later down the line, it got sold to the Strimmies. And my last year Hornets, we were looking to get out of it, looking to upgrade, and somebody talked to my dad at South Bend and was like, "Hey, I got that car," and we got it thinking we'd be able to kind of update a little bit of stuff and then throw a motor in it and run, but we cut it all the way down to the bare chassis and redid everything. So really, we bought just the frame.
See, one thing about Mike and Evan Verduin is they're perfectionists, and that car's not going to show up to the track if it isn't perfect. So, how much of it was needed versus how much of it had to do is the question. But so yeah, we asked about your number. Lewis mentioned earlier mini wedges. You had a lot of success in mini wedges, mostly at South Bend. You never ran Plymouth in mini wedges, right?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
it was dirt, but
I got you.
I did run Kaylee's before though when it was asphalt. I was aged out already though, so they just let me play around pretty much with the other kids running.
I got you. So you had a lot of success at South Bend, won a couple championship in mini wedges there, but you raced even before that in go-karts on dirt. So if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't remember a ton of it from that, but I used to run flat carts at Akron Speedway, and I don't remember how old I was, maybe like 5 or 6, but I remember I was terrified of it and then got in it and then loved it, and we ended up upgrading to a cage cart. That I don't remember too much about that. I remember we were really low on car counts a lot, so I'd run with like the higher up class and they would blow my doors off all the time, but I was still trying to run with them, but wasn't really in that caliber. Oh, I did run with Jaden Kratasi there too when he was in cage carts. I remember running with him a couple times.
So with the streets, sorry, Bruce, go ahead.
No, you can go.
All right. So with street stocks being one of the toughest classes in this region, the best racing around, there's a lot of rivalries that develop. Have you developed a rivalry with any certain racer locally? I don't know this. I'm just asking. So
no, that's my question.
I don't think I have like any like ongoing rivalries. Like, you have a bad night with a driver and you get worked up, and then end of the day we don't have a team owner or car owner. We all work on our own stuff, buy our own stuff. We can't go out there and wreck each other every week, and cost ourselves money and time. And not everybody has the money to fix their cars. We're supposed to go and have fun.
So I'll tell a quick story. I remember a night at Plymouth last year. It was a hot night, one of those nights where everybody's, PO'd, tempers are flaring already. Everybody's running at everybody on the track. Evan and Rich Bull got into it a little bit. And Evan pulls into the pits, and he gets out of the car, and he runs straight down to Rich Bull's trailer. Now, I'm not talking trash, Evan, but my friend Evan's a little guy. And he just goes running right into Rich Bull's trailer by himself, and I'm thinking, oh no. So I go running down there. Luckily, they're just shaking hands. They were squashing the beef, as he said. But yeah, that you mentioned rivalries. That story came to mind, Drew.
Yeah. I wasn't being a complete idiot. I was just thinking at the moment. My car was running so good that night, and I couldn't get around Rich for the life of me. And my right front, the hub broke, so I had to get towed off the track. Right front's dangling. I was running 4th when that happened, and I was mad at Rich Bull. He didn't do nothing wrong. My car broke, and it's just one of those moments where you had such good potential, and then something happens like that out of your control. So I had to go apologize to Rich after that. I lost Bull there.
The cool heads prevailed. No WrestleMania moments in the hauler.
I was glad I didn't have to make the save.
So here's an interesting question for as a racer. Let's just say a certain promoter may put a race down in February, right around Speed Weeks, maybe the weekend before, and we invited Street Stocks to race with that. Do you think the region down here would come down there and support that in February?
Yeah, I feel like some guys would. I will say you have to put it out in advance, because a lot of us local guys, we slack, and a lot of cars ain't done before February.
All right, good notes. We're working on something.
So I was gonna say Drew's up to something. But speaking of up to
Yeah.
something, I know on your wall you have quite a few things behind you. Do you want to talk about some of your passions that you've been able to do, some replica things that you've made for people, just to kind of give them an idea of things that you've done not only on the track and why you like painting the wall at South Bend and you had the talent for that, but the Hot Wheels and everything that you used to paint.
Yeah, so when I was younger, I used to paint little Hot Wheel cars, like late model street stocks. I used to paint the drivers their cars, just give them to them for free because I was young and I just liked the attention of drivers and just having them talk to me, like bigger names. Like when I was younger, I used to like love watching Austin Maynard and the Sportsmen. So I made him a car before. I think I made like every Maynard their car. I was a big fanboy back then. I know I made a couple Outlaws, the street stock guys, front wheel drive guys, and then it ended up turning into like a little business I made. And I was like $12, and I'm like, oh, $10 a car, and then it's taking me like 3 hours to do it. I got older, I'm like, this ain't worth my time. I don't have the patience. You know. It was really cool though it was cool seeing the final product once I was done with them.
But even both you and your sister are creative, right? Like I know she's working on some different things, and that's something that I mean, just you both. I know your mom is very proud of you guys, and we tried to get Stephanie on here. She was not a fan of, you know, maybe being public speaking wise, so we weren't able to get her. But obviously, she does incredible photography. But I know with what you guys all do, right? I mean, you all are creative, and you even design your own street stocks, and you try to challenge yourself every time. And like I said, it's a viral street stock. I have numbers to prove it. So so do you even want to talk a little bit about, because I know we're getting close here, and I know Frank's going to pop on in just a few minutes. But do you want to even talk a little bit about like what it takes for you to create your street stock design?
I mean, when it comes to my street stock design, I've had other people offer to, oh, can I design your car for you and stuff, and I just really don't like letting somebody else take the credit of a good looking car. That might be selfish of me or something, but I really like to make everything my own. I don't want it to be duplicated in any way, you know. And I make a lot of them on my games, or I'll draw them up on a piece of paper, and just I don't know, colors and designs just kind of come to me randomly, and I'll just have to write them down or draw them something.
Well, for someone who does stick figures like I do, right? That is not my that's not my talent to do those kind of things. I'm obviously creative in other ways that with the videography and everything, which I say I kind of make it up as I go. I'm still learning all the tricks of the trade, but when I see when people do drawings and some different things, like I know your sister's going to be doing car drawings, I'm like, no, that's not a me thing, right? So I always pick those who can do that.
Yeah, I gotta like force myself, like motivate myself to make my paint schemes better and better every year. Like you're saying, I try and up it every year because like my TikTok, I always get comments like, "Oh man, this car looks better and better every year." Oh, I'm so glad to see it on my For You page again, and it's just like I have to make it better,
Perfectionist.
Yeah. Circle back to yours.
Do you think you'd ever do a throwback scheme? Like I know your dad had similar colors from when, because his was a 56, right? Like 56 street stock.
Mm-hmm.
Throwback, or do you think you'd ever surprise people and come on out with the Cindy Strimmy colors?
I don't know if I could steer away from blue because like drivers just have their colors a lot. Like Jimmy
Right.
Owen, green and white, and Jonathan Davenport, black and orange. He went to red, but these higher up guys, they got their colors that they always stick with, and you know who they are. But a throwback scheme is definitely in the cards somewhere along the line.
Well, I know we're getting close here. The Mexibilly just showed up. He was out saving Long John Silver's from bankruptcy, so he better put that hat on. he cannot deny us the hat, so he better put that on before he comes on here because I see it's not on right now. But anyways, we now have confirmed why Long John Silver's is in business. It's because of the Mexibilly. But anyways, Evan, who helps you get to the track? Who are your sponsors, and who are people that you want to shout out?
Well, obviously, Top Row Racing Media, Great Lakes Heating and Air Conditioning, Bruges Bullring, Top Speed Travels, Duco Performance, Williams Expert Pivot and Pump, Pink Zebra, Dan Lads Racing, Capturing the Moment by Liz, and Auto Parts City, and Left Turn Graphics.
I forgot about Top Speed Travels. That is my mistake. Is that page still active? Are you still doing that?
Yeah, it's. We can talk after.
Top Speed Travels. I'm like,
yes, it's still active. Yes.
So I should be hitting him up for some money, Evan, is what I'm hearing. As I should be like, hey, I hear you're a business owner too, which, just shout out really quick, ELH Detailing, Eddie, or Ed, one of the Eds, they just popped in, said, love the podcast. So ELH Detailing is a presenting sponsor of Top Row Racing Media this year. Their partnership, obviously huge, and they'll keep the pace car looking nice and sharp this year. And so those businesses, right, those supporters are hugely helpful because racing's not cheap whatsoever. And I think, like what does it cost on average? I'm not going to price quote you, but on average, even just for a street stock tire.
Yeah, I think a full set of tires this season is like $650. So it's really pricey. It's not easy to run every weekend. That's how it is for everybody. We're all penny pitching, I think, to get to the track every week and have fun.
And what about race fuel? A lot of people may not think of these kind of things either, but on average, again, obviously price changes per track or where you can get it because not all tracks sell it and you have to go elsewhere to get it. But that's like, what about even like race fuel on average?
Well, we run E85 because race fuel got so expensive because I believe it's like $10 a gallon now. So I think E85 is, I don't know, we haven't bought it since last year, but it's a whole lot cheaper. Except you got to buy an E85 carburetor, and that's also not cheap, but I think it pays for itself.
Oh yeah, I mean that's when to someone I think at when I say Kalamazoo, it's like 9 something. I went for fuel because I don't have to buy it, right? Like I go to Meyer and that's what I get, right? And so I know obviously every car has different things, but I don't always think about those kind of costs.
To be fair, Lewis, back in 2001, this is how old I am. When I was racing, it was $5 a gallon. So truly hasn't gone up that much over time.
I didn't know horse and carriages needed race fuel, Andy.
I'll be nice to you. I will be nice to you today. I can't promise I'll be as nice when Frank is on because
he did put the hat on though, so he does get a little credit here. But again, Evan, I know bringing you on, I was really excited for that because I've been a huge supporter right since your start and you getting out there going. So I was introduced to you through the mini wedges, but I knew when you came on and jumped into the street stocks, it's like this is someone who we need to support and help get there because you could just see that Hornet race, which I know you may not always want to remember that Hornet race as your family's celebrating in turn one and everyone's excited and literally jumping up and down. And then, by the time you come to the checkered flag, you get the bad news. But you could tell then, right? Like, you were coming around, you knew what to do, you were getting your tires wet, so to speak, maybe not feet wet, but you're getting your tires wet and just that improvement. And that's what I love about weekly racing and being dedicated to tracks and not traveling around and not doing those different things because I get to see that growth from week to week, which is very exciting for me.
Yeah, we were just talking about your continued support since the Hornets and just how cool it is to have sponsors stick with you for that long.
Yeah, because it becomes it's not just partnerships, right? It's that friendship piece. And like I said, I always tell people, when I'm on the roof and it's race day, from the time that we're going to the time that we're ending, I have to be neutral because that's my job as a videographer is to support everyone. And I do. I truly am rooting everybody on for their success. But obviously there are people who I've built connections with who, I think of like Andrea Miller and the 55, Outlaw Limited late model at Kalamazoo, for her to make the super shoot A. I went down right after and congratulated her because I'm like, I think you just made the A for the first time, and I was excited for her. And Taylor Sexton, who sometimes has had really rough luck, where you remind her like you're damn good. So like everybody has bad things, bad seasons, and sometimes it's multiple seasons, but like you need to remember who you are and why you're doing this even when it's frustrating. And so, before we let you go, are there idols, who you really look up to, who maybe you look for their mentorship, or you look for words that they've said in the past where you kind of hold on to those moments, even in frustration?
I don't really know. I can't really think of too many like people I go to, for like now, there's everybody's in such different scenarios all the time with racing. It's just
Yeah.
kind of, my dad's always preaching to me, just be smart, don't do anything dumb, keep the car in one piece kind of deal. Like, it's kind of what I have to tell myself a lot because, like I said earlier, we're the ones that have to fix it. So we don't have a car owner to do it for us.
Right. And that's sometimes challenging for people to know too, that a lot of racers, they're on their own. They don't have massive teams, or like this week at Intimidator, you're going to see smaller teams who are going to show up, and there's two people working on the Outlaws or whatever. Then you're going to have big rigs pull in, and they have 12 people come out of the trailer, and the driver sometimes isn't even near the car. They are relaxing somewhere, letting their people do it, and they've earned that right. I mean, they've gotten to that point with that support. Can't fault them, but it's like sometimes you just see such vast differences in short track racing from one team to the next, and I sometimes think fans sometimes forget that a majority of people don't have 100 people working on their car for them, or doing that. That a lot of times it's small teams, small people. They work 9 to 5 or third shift or second shift and come home, and now we're spending hours in the shop and trying to get the car ready.
Yeah, and it's literally a two-man operation between him and his dad, so they're definitely working hard to get the car out there.
One last question before we let him go. He wants to know what's his favorite paint scheme he's ever done.
I think it might be my first year of street stock. A lot of people like the yellow one.
Yeah,
I know that's Buju's go-to, but I don't know. Something about the first one just looked real classy to me.
Well, I think that was at the Southland Auto Show. That was your first one at the Southland Auto Show, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember now what the order was, because I like this year's a lot. I like that smooth slickness. The yellow, or the neonish yellow, definitely stood out, but this one this year with the silver wheels and everything, I'm like, man, that was sharp.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it with the blue, gray, and black. It's just real sleek look to it. It's not right in your face, but it looks classy.
And for people who may forget who jumped in, I'm going to show really quick on screen. This is the last year car. So this was at New Paris when he raced that Flagger Boy. But yeah, I really liked last year's design, but that everyone you've had has certainly stood out. So again, you have a lot of talent with your designing.
Well, here in about 11 days, roughly, maybe, everybody will see the new paint scheme. So I think this one might be the best looking one, in my opinion, if it comes out.
I know we're excited for it, but again, Evan, I thank you so much for joining us tonight. Buju, any last thoughts or questions?
No, sir. I'm sure I'll see you this weekend.
Drew?
Say what?
I was going to Drew. Any last questions?
Just if you want to let our viewers know where they can find you on social media, if you have a race team social media page, or a website, or website. So 2001, right, Buju?
I'll leave it alone this time.
Yeah, so I don't have a Facebook racing page, but Evan Verduin on Facebook. I think it's Evan_Verduin 72 on TikTok. And that's really the only two platforms I'm active on.
Awesome. Well, we certainly appreciate your time tonight, and good luck. I will certainly try to get down to Plymouth at one point this year. The problem is they're on Friday nights, so maybe a weekend special. If you have a Saturday race, I can make it down there, and love to see street stocks down south because it's certainly a great class up here.
Yeah, the street stock double plate race is on a Saturday. That's one you don't want to miss. I will say that one. That one's going to be really good.
Woo.
And hopefully Ravers Rumble, I know you said with it being a Wednesday, though, but I know you've come up to, the last two Ravers Rumbles and did that. And then Flagger Boy, I know, is on August, I want to say 8th, on that Saturday at New Paris. I know you did that last year. So I certainly hope that you're in New Paris a couple times just because selfishly that's where I am on Saturday. So, and obviously Friday I'm on the roof at Kalamazoo, so I can't watch you race on a Friday, but definitely looking forward to seeing you sometime this year.
I'll definitely try to venture up to them tracks you're at more this year.
All right. I mean, you get a lot of video time. So,
Yeah.
But again, Evan, thank you again so much for joining us tonight, and good luck when you hit the track.
All right. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, no, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So are you guys ready for chaos?
Oh, boy.
I'm
Here we
going
go.
to call it a night. You guys have a good night.
So I know we're a few minutes behind, but we're going to bring Frank on because Frank, I don't know if you saw the hat on. See, I told you. So when Long John Silver's is not bankrupt, you know exactly why. Then Mexibilly has kept them in business. But Frank, we had some technical difficulties earlier, so we were a little bit behind, and I got all flustered because it wasn't going on Facebook, which is obviously where most of our audience watches. So I'm like, this is not the time. I'm too tired for this. But anyways, someone who I know has also been tired because you've had a long day doing your things. I think you're on mute right now, though, so we want to make sure that we can hear you. Yeah, you're on mute.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Let me help him here.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, you just muted him, Drew. There you go.
There you go. There we go.
Yeah. Hey,
That's
that's
we go.
a throwback. You're on mute. But anyways, we have...
I had to listen to this for 7 hours on Saturday, and now I got to do it for another 45 minutes tonight.
Hey, you hired me, dude. Hey, so you know I'm raw material right here. So yeah, you want to get on here, and it's gonna be raw all the way through.
Oh boy.
You know, I will kick this off with Frank. Frank and I met each other probably a long time ago, and I didn't realize it, but he came up and helped me announce one of the Crappers full enduros at the Kalamazoo Speedway. And Frank got a lot of reviews from the Kalamazoo people of how good of an announcer he was. And then just, a year later or something right around that time, he was the announcer of Russell's M40 Speedway. So whenever we do events at Russell's or I ever need an announcer, he's going to be my first call because he certainly has developed a skill of gab on the radio, and it's transitioned over to the racetrack, and he entertains the race fans, and he works with a great family at M40.
Hey, man, that means a lot to me. Seriously, it does, man, because, I'm just, obviously, we're just kind of hanging out in the old trailer hood, literally, it is the epiphany of, trailer trash, got the Firebird over there, station wagon, in the trailer hood, and man,
Front doors wide open.
The animals are now crawling through the trailer park. He's got to go.
I got a rat dog over here somewhere. I don't know where the hell she's
yeah.
at. Hopefully, neighbor's yard somewhere. But, man, you know what? That means a lot to me, Andy. I appreciate that, brother. And every time we come out, it's just not so much as like just to go make some money or things like that. It means a lot to just be there with y'all. So it means a lot to me that you guys continue to ask me to be there, to be a part of your events. And until there's a discrepancy or there's this or that, man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So.
No, absolutely. So, sorry, Louis, go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say, we know you're incredible. I mean, just what you do, how you deliver. And that's why I reached out to you to say, hey, I want to get you on here because not only have I gotten to see you grow as an announcer at M40 and do that, I learned through that about classic rock 97.7, but then I knew you prior to that as the Mexibilly. So if for all the people, watching, like I said, my favorite question to start out with, just for everyone as like an introduction is, one, who's Frank Gasco, but how did the Mexibilly come about? Because that's a pretty fun story too from New Paris.
Oh man. Okay. So the wife and I are not together anymore. Been split up for a while now, but getting ready to go on a year. Different story for another time. But my sister-in-law at the time, Jeremy Templeton, got a big shout out to Jeremy at the kennel and all those guys. If it would not have been for them, like we couldn't have the career that we've had. So we came about one night. Somebody was like, "You're a red Mexican." And my sister-in-law, Lindsay, by the way, big shout out to her. It's her 43rd birthday. Shout out, Lindsay. Said, "No, he's a Mexibilly. And half Mexican, half hillbilly. If I was not in the trailer park when I was a kid, I was on the west side of South Bend. I'm either half hood, half Mexibilly, half trailer park. I don't know what I am, but it all works out." And it stuck when she said that. And we were able to, man, sell T-shirts, stickers, all kinds of stuff, man. And how cool is that to be a part of it? Well, like when you pull in folks thinking you as Mexico, the fans cheer for you. The kids are, can you sign my T-shirt? Can you sign my checkered flag or this or that? And I never take it for granted because I'm no superhero, man. I mean, I work every day just like everybody else does, and to have folks that think of me in that manner is just incredible, And we've took home fan favorite, I think, I think twice from New Paris now. I got the trophy in the house, and it's just a blessing, because we just started this as just having a lot of fun, and we don't talk anymore, haven't for years. But big shout out to Wayne Clements, his family. Were a big deal at New Paris for a long time. He helped me get my first car together, things like that. And man, we just went out and had a lot of fun, just made a name for ourselves. And my daughter's getting ready to turn 10, or getting ready to turn 11. I apologize. Elaine's getting ready to turn 11. And I've been doing this now for 14 years. I have so much fun with it, man. I really do. And every time we jump in a car, it's kind of like, I can't believe we're still doing this, And my daughter also, by the way, big Topper Racing Media fan. I mean, like literally, she was over here Saturday night. We got home from track. It's like, "Yeah, can we turn on Top Row?" Sure. I mean, I guess you do whatever you want. I would like to watch something else, like a movie or something. But I really try to stay humble, man, because there's a lot of folks that help me do this and have helped me through all these years, man. I could not do it without my friends, and it just means a lot. So that's how the Mexibilly came about. If it was not for my friends and the people I know, there would be no Mexibilly. I mean, it's just not me.
So a lot of people know you from the racetrack. A lot more probably know you from the radio. How did you get your start in radio, and what drawed you to that?
Oh man. Okay, so now we're going back a little ways. So we're gonna go back to when I was about 16 years old. Just a small town Mishawaka kid. And I got to be friends with, hey, get over here.
Red dog. Red dog.
Hey, come here. I'm a fool. So I literally started calling in to the cross line on the Bear. and got to be friends with Reverend Ryan. God rest his soul. We become like a brother to me. And one day I finally and Ron Stryker as well. Ron Stryker's gone now too. Um, also, man, mental health awareness. We just had that our mental health awareness night at M40. If you ever need to talk to anybody, man, please reach out to someone. Um, we lost Ron Stryker due to things like that, and Stryker gave me my shot along with Rhino saying, "Do it." And I wanted to drop out of high school because I was trying to take care of my grandma. My great grandma adopted me. So, man, we're getting into a whole bunch of shit here, but my great grandma, obviously a lot older than my real mom, so on and so forth. My nana was a drunk. My great grandma took care of me, and then I got into rock and roll and country music, like hardcore. I was really involved in rock and roll at the time. I started calling to the bear and made friends with everybody I called in with. And finally, one day I asked Rhino, I said, "Hey, man, is there any room for a job or maybe like a internship, something like that?" And he's like, "I'm going to hook you up with somebody." Made a phone call, showed up, and I, it became credit for high school. I dropped out of Mishawaka High School, went to an alternative school that was actually in the UP Mall. Another crazy story, but that counted as my credit. And my first actual paid job was 95.3 WAOR on paper. And I rode the bus to school and to work and then back home. Got maybe, 6, 7 hours of sleep a night. Uh, Worked for B100, I worked for WAOR, The Bear, and at the time, 95.7, which was the power hip hop station. And, my, it was getting ready to run out and I wanted to stay. And so I said, hey, Mike Rags, big shout out to Mike Rags out of Fort Wayne. He's there now. Man, how do I go about this? Like, can I stay or is there? He said, if you sign this paper right here, I'll stay. It was, you know, like $13 an hour and so on and so forth. And it's all right. I'll sign. It was my first tax job, and then some things happened that we won't get into on Facebook. I will just say that I was just being a young, dumb kid, and it cost me my job. But man, it's still a big shout out to all those guys because a lot of the folks that are still there, we're still friends with. And had it not been for who I know at this point in time, including Brad King, big shout out to Brad King. Knew him since I was a kid, and he brought me on to the staff over there at U93. Bayless used to be at the Bear. He was the PD at. There's Rat Dog right there.
Red dog.
He was the PD at U93 when I showed up, and I simply was at the car show. And big shout out to you, man, Lewis, for doing what you do for the car show. Um, a few years ago, I said, man, I'd really like to get back into the radio thing. I said, don't forget, I can still slide the pots. And he's like, well, I had a beer in my hand. He's like, well, don't bring that and come see me on Monday morning, and I have a spot for you. And what's the date today? It is the 13th. I've got 9 days, and I've been at the radio station for 4 years. Thank God. Big shout out to Brad King and Bayless for bringing me back onto that. And, that's kind of how it happened. It literally just kind of happened. And so it was awesome.
Well, I know you have a lot of loyal listeners too, who look forward to you, and some you've been able to bring over to the racing side. So, what does that feel like because of your role at Classic Rock 97.7 and just the radio stations in general, to then see some of those people come over?
Um, I never try to let that be a thing to me. a lot of the radio guys kind of like use that as like an ego thing, and a lot of folks would, and it should be an ego boost to folks. But to me, it's just, man, thank you so much. I really appreciate you listening, and it means a lot to me because as just who I am, man, y'all really listen to me just and we bullshit, and that's just how I feel. It's like I just feel it's a bonus, a bonus like this. I don't know how to explain it. It's to me, still 4 years later, it's still surreal that I'm on the radio. Like when I turn it on in the car and I hear my voice, I'm just still like, holy shit, that's you.
Well, now you can hear yourself on Top Pro Racing Media. No, that all worked out on Saturday, so that was pretty incredible.
Yeah, man. And my daughter is always like, hey, that's you. I know, honey, I know.
Well, again, I know also I wanted to bring you on because obviously with New Paris Speedway this Saturday, pending weather, this week, thunderstorms like every single day except for Friday. We have a great Friday looking up, but I know obviously that R word, everyone's favorite thing, is a potential, right? I know they'll do rain if it's not awful, but with New Paris opening their season opener, Night of Destruction, that's where you won a lot of trophies and have had a lot of success and a lot of fans. So what got you really into competing, and what does it feel like when you take the track every single time, especially at a dedicated crowd like New Paris?
Man, to what it feels like to this day, still can't explain it. When they call Mexibilly and the fans still just come alive. Just humbled, very grateful, emotional sometimes, because I'm just there to put on a show for you. As long as, and just as well as all my friends are too. Big shout out, Chef Gilbert, Tim Hutchings, Spencer Werninger, all them guys, dude. I learned what I know from Tim Hutchings, Spencer Werninger, all the OGs, man. But to pull out and hear Jeremy say Mexibilly or Frank Gasko and the crowd just goes crazy, dude, it really means the world. You know, I can't explain it. We love putting a show on, and I'm a showboat, man. Like, if folks ask me, like, who would you compare yourself to? I'll be the first one to say I love showboating. I love being the one in the room that the folks, I feel like this when I walk in the room and folks talk about me, but at the same time, I'm very humbled by it because it's just it's a feeling that I think everybody should feel. And I was just very grateful to get the opportunity to be able to do things like this. And New Paris has been my home for racing for, 14 years now. When I first started racing, I was literally living in my ex-wife's dad's and instead of going to find someplace to live, I was like, well, we're going to take our daily drivers. And I caught a whole bunch of shit about that, and we wound up not using the daily drivers, but Dalton Winroad and a buddy of his was like, hey, we've got a Ford Contour over here. If you'd like to have that, just come get it and just bring it back when it's done. Man, we had to ratchet strap the whole rear end of this fucking car together. Like, I mean, we had like 6 ratchet straps trying to, literally, like, the ratchet straps are just holding this car together in the rear end. And we went out and we whooped ass. Man, we were like second or third place or this or that for 2 or 3 races. And it was the first time I'd ever been in a car, that kind of aspect, and I was just absolutely addicted to it. And, I was in it long ago when I was working at Federated Media. I had a Grand Prix that we took out for spectator racing. That was my daily driver. And then the Harmons were there, and all the folks. I raced side by side with Don Harmon, God bless his soul. Big Daddy Don, you know, it just I'm just grateful to have been a part of the things that I've been able to, especially at New Pair Speedway, man. This trailer right here, I bought this a little over 10 years ago simply because I was about 6 minutes from the racetrack. Honest to God, that was like one of the biggest reasons why I bought this house. And it's literally just down the back road, down the other back road, into the track. And we've built several United Destruction cars right here in the front yard with the kids and this and that. And when things went sideways last year, we kind of went through my trophies and all that. We've got over 350 wins, and it's 14 years. So, and there's a lot of second and third sprinkled in there, but I shouldn't say wins. I will say we've got 350 trophies in the shed, right here, in the bedroom, in the kitchen. There's second, third, fan favorites, all kinds of stuff like that, dude. And I'm just humbled by that. Every time I look at it, when I grew up, my family was darts or shooting pool, and my family went out to Vegas for the APA, and they brought home trophies for that. And I'm grateful that I was able to get into racing. And a big shout out to Richie Nairi and Denny and all them. The first race car ever sent in was Denny. And that they put me fired up and all that, and that stuck with me. So.
Well, because you have raced, what is other than Night Destruction? You had mentioned before some other things that you've raced. So, what else have you kind of jumped into other than Night of Destruction?
Oh my goodness, man! There's a couple things I can't say on here since we're live. Since
I don't care. You're on Lewis's page, so you're not going to hurt mine today.
Man, there's been many years that we've been into Mexico racing, if you catch my drift, things like that. And it's just, to me, it's just about the horsepower. It's about the smell. It's about when it's literally in front of you, feet away from you. It's the high that you get from racing, period. There's nothing that can ever top that. So, I bought a camper. There's a boat sitting back here somewhere because I said I was going to get out of racing for a while. Then I bought a camper. Said, we're going camping, speed racing. Didn't happen. And, I think it's an addiction. And I think Buju can agree with me with that.
Yes, sir.
I think all three of you can. There's an addiction to racing. I don't care if you're going 30 miles an hour. I don't give a shit if you're going 300 miles an hour. In racing, I think it's the factor of the adrenaline and being in front of the crowd. I think the crowd amplifies what's this. So, we went to Kalamazoo, and I was in front of a fire marshal fan base. They turned away the fire marshals, and Jason Seltzer was the announcer, and I was able to win the Demolition Derby up there. And when I got out and I did this just for the hell of it, just to see what it felt like, 6,000 people cheered and just screamed. It's just not something that a normal person would ever see. And it's just humbling, and I never, ever take that kind of feeling because, man, you can't explain it. It was something I was always so excited to be a part of, and every time I get a trophy or things like that, I know a lot of these guys hand the trophies out and all this, and God bless them. But my trophies mean so much to me, and just to be able to be a part of that, and when you hear the crowd roar, it's just unlike anything else.
Well, I
So
know
you go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Lewis.
No, I was going to say, I know we're getting close on time. I know Tyler just popped on, and I let him know that we're just a few minutes behind
Yeah.
from the original start. So I want to make sure that if anyone else had dreams to do so, please go ahead.
So I've told Frank before how I'm a big fan of his announcing, but so you've been the racer, you've been the radio host, now you're the host at the racetrack. So what are the challenges you face as a race announcer as opposed to a racer or radio host?
Finding things to talk about.
Yeah.
Finding things to talk about, keep it entertaining. There's a lot of times I'm just kind of like, am I doing good enough? I want to keep the fans entertained. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. But as a race fan myself, it's so hard to just kind of like stay on the mic and keep talking and then not think like, man, I'm not being too much. When I'm just chasing them in my head, I should be talking. You know what I mean? I should be sending my thoughts with the crowd. But a lot of times it's kind of like, holy shit, that guy's got to get it. He's got to get it. And I think that would be it. Finding creativity after doing it for so long. That's what I
Yeah.
think. That'd be the answer to that. Yeah.
Well, you're great at it. I think you're great. And I think I've told you this before. You're a great host of a race program. You can be a you can be a good race announcer. You can talk well, but hosting a show is tough, and you do a good job at it. So.
And then hey, again, I sure appreciate that, brother. And for what you do with your TikTok and all the social media shit you've done for racetrack, man, that's a hell of a deal in itself.
I appreciate that.
Incredible amount of time and incredible amount of creativity and big shout out to you, man. So
thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
Watch me flip this around on him. So, Frank, you and I both know that nowadays that there is a shortage of announcers, good announcers. Anybody can pick up a microphone. So I'm gonna flip this over to Buju. So why haven't you considered becoming an announcer? Because you have
it's hard.
It's not hard.
I many wedge announced for a year.
You have the voice. Why wouldn't you consider something like that?
The commitment being at one place every week would be tough. I like to move around. I don't know. I like being a fan too much.
I can fix that for you. I got a traveling series.
Yeah, touche.
But
hey,
I don't know.
Hey, I thought we were contracted for me to do shit for you every now and again. Now
yeah, you just get Frank's job away, dude.
No, see, Frank, you get all the stuff in Florida that with the travel with perks. He gets the crap like Canada. We're going to Canada this year.
Shit, dude.
or Maine when we go out to the Northeast next year. He's going with me.
Oh, wow, I'll go to Maine.
You just tell me okay on the weekends. I'll just give it to you, so that way.
All right.
With that, you certainly have a passion, Frank, for what you do, and you're able to balance it back. I'm going to fire this back at Buju. So Frank has a deal at M40 where he can still go do the cruise on Woodward or 8 Mile in Detroit. So maybe, just maybe, one of those nights and Jason Seltzer isn't available, maybe you should throw this kid over here on the mic at M40.
Hey, you know what, dude? If you're interested in something like that, man, Johnny Russell is very interested in just, exploring that, because Billy and Johnny we'd like to have 2 announcers a night just to be able to go back and forth. We've talked about this for years. But and I'll say this up front, dude, Johnny and Billy and Penny and all of them at Russell M40 Speedway, God bless them, dude. That racetrack has just been incredible to me. We've had incredible shows. We literally went from, oh my God, you guys are going to be nothing, to, man, we're packing the stands for some race nights. You know what I mean? And my God, like, I'm able to be a part of that. And when I look down and I see all these folks out here and I get to talk to you, we get to have fun together, and I think about the hard-earned money that you spent to be here, man, thank you. Yeah, I've been at Russell's now for, what is it going, 4 years, I think.
Or,
4 years now. And so I started there soon after I got my radio gig. And it's just been a great, great time, man. Can't speak good enough about Russell's Employee Speedway and all the tracks I've been to, whether it's South Bend, Plymouth, New Paris, Russell's, man, they've all treated me so well. So it's just it's just a thing, I guess. So I just want you to get out to your local racetrack and get out there and enjoy it, and Buju, dude, you keep posting this shit about, the racetracks go on and all this and that. I follow you. I watch your videos, and obviously Kenny Wallace has talked about your videos and commented, I think it was, or something like that. And dude, huge for you. Top row, Lewis, thank you, brother, so much, because we've got a video together that's what, 1.3 now.
Yeah, crazy. Over 1 million views, just one. And
Wow.
you are of that.
Yeah, and I was just driving a truck with a trailer on it. And
Just being modest again. I was just driving a truck and trailer, and a guy drove on the back of it. No big deal.
hey, you know what, man? I was just like, I know that the drivers can do it because it's just a thing, but you come to the front stretch, and the front stretch is literally almost full of folks. I wanted to swerve a little bit, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? We're gonna load that fucking car right now into everybody. And I just let off the gas, and he drove that right on the trailer, right at the start and finish line, dude. And if you watch that video, you see that guy. That to me was hell yeah, brother. You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't get that kind of entertainment nowhere else. Everybody's got their heads stuck in their phones and watching everybody else do shit now and all this and that. But man, when it's in your face, I want to present something or be a part of something that's literally in your face. And going back to last weekend, Andy Jack, dude, what a great show. The Crown Vics, the Midwest Compact Touring Series, the Juice Box races, even just awesome. Never seen them before. I had no idea even what they were. And the Modified Wheel Horse Racing Association, a lot of folks in the stand never seen a racing tractor before. To me, it's just cool to be a part of so much, in a way, ridiculousness. To the common person, that's foolishness. But to the race fan, they're looking forward to seeing shows like that. So
our philosophy has always been doing something different. It doesn't have to be a sold out house. It has to be entertaining with people in the crowd. And we accomplished that with a great team of the M40 people, the Midwest Compacts, the Wheelman people, the Modified Wheel Horse Racing Association. It was a group effort. It wasn't just one person, a team. But we do owe a lot of gratitude to Lewis and Ron Verash for what they did for the Crown Vics, because that wasn't an Andy Jack thing. That was a Top Row Racing Media and Ron Verash that got that part of the show together.
Big shout out Top Row, putting a $1,000 blanket over the whole field, and then Ron Verash with the laugh board. That's what helped the sport so much, and with folks like all of you guys, putting it doesn't matter if it's $5 throwing it in the pot. Some driver is gonna be like, oh my goodness, I got and that's cool. So that's what folks want, and a lot of drivers may not deserve that, but they're gonna get it because that's what's paid out.
How many Crown Vics did I tell you that we'd probably have on Friday night, Lewis?
I think it was like 5 or 6. We were thinking up to 7 or 8, and then 17 showed up.
There was 17 in one place and one more in the other.
Yeah. But anyways, I know we have Tyler on, so I'm not going to touch that one. But I have a lot to think on that one. But anyway, so I know Tyler's on here, and
but because I'm friends with you, but
yeah, you know, I'm about to put up my Switzerland flag.
All right,
I can do this. I can do this.
I don't want to create any animosity, but I think it was a great deal that we had. One track had one more, we had the same.
No, yeah, 2 full fields at 2 tracks is unbelievable. Awesome.
I was talking to Buju on Saturday night, and that's what we wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
But anyways, Frank, I know that we've kept you a little bit longer. I know we got Tyler Hufford, who won, right? The won that street stock race, local boy, brought it home. And so I know that was pretty exciting to see. And he was a favorite. You know, when I talked with the Ohio women before, they said, you know, because he'd been there before, he's raced there before, he knew what he was doing, that he probably stood out. And once he passed that 3 wide on the front stretch, just sent it. In my head, I'm going, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that.
I thought they were going to junk everybody's shit. And I was just like, go.
But yeah, so that was exciting. So we're about to bring him on because I know he's working on the car and everything too, and got a lot of things going on. But again, Frank, we'll have to bring you back on too, because just with your storytelling between you and Ron Brash, we could probably just have a little bit of a powwow. And
you should put him on the same episode, and you'll have a 12-hour show.
There you go. But we're before we kick you off really quick, where can people listen to you on Classic Rock 97.7? What's your time frame?
Classic Rock 97.7 ZOW out of South Bend. You can find me 2 to 7 p.m. every weekday, and then 6 a.m. to 10 on Saturdays. Again, our range is probably about to St. Joe, Michigan, and about to M40. Just rock that little dial right there over to 977 ZOW, and we're going to get your classic rock right in your ears.
All right. Well, again, Frank, so
doing ACDC tickets.
7:15. Notre Dame, right?
1:15, 4:15, 7:15, all throughout the day, every weekday up until we say it's not. So, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, again, Frank, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I hope the Mexibilly, if you're not busy on Saturday, maybe we'll see you at New Paris.
Man, I actually have to work the audio at the Luke Combs show, so I will not be there, but plan on me being there at some point this year.
All right. Well, I look forward to it. So again, thank you so much, Frank, for tonight, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, Andy, Lewis, Buju, thank you so much for having me be a part of this tonight. I appreciate y'all. It's all love.
You're the man.
Mexibilly in the house. Peace out. Enjoy. But we'll do one more station identification while we switch a guest here. So again, Monday Night Rewind on Top of Racing Media. Please share it out and help, because I know we're a little bit behind, but we do have Tyler Hufford, who is about to join us. So again, I'm really excited for that, watching him race and getting ready to pop him on. And there you go.
Satin fellas.
Again, congratulations on Saturday.
Thank you.
When you sent that into turn 1, I'm like, he's going for it. And even watching it on the onboard, it didn't, I guess from the stands, it looked a little closer than what it was, although it still felt like close. But I'm like, oh, he had room.
Yeah, you never know with these street stocks. You got to wait sometimes, and then sometimes you got to take that chance, because sometimes it's the first one to the front who's going to, stay up there. So that opened up. There's plenty of room there, so we took advantage of it while we could.
But, oh yeah, that was just, again, I watched it a couple times to go, how did he do that? Because other cars do that and it not go well, right? And so yeah, that was impressive. But I know, again, thank you for being patient for tonight. Like, we had technical difficulties getting on, and then fighting with Facebook to go live. So again, for people who don't know who you are, like I know Buju, he was looking up earlier because he definitely, you know, with him being in the South Bend market, Plymouth market, he doesn't get up to, you know, Corrigan and all that kind of, or Spartan Speedway for those old school people listening.
Yeah.
You know, so if you want to give a little bit about your career history and who you are, and that, you know, for those who watch you often, it wasn't a surprise that you won on Saturday because, again, you're really, really good behind the wheel. But there are a lot of people who are watching who may not know who you are. So who's Tyler Hufford?
Yeah, so I started racing go-karts 5 years old. We started at the Montville Speedway. And after a few years, we graduated up to bigger kart, which we raced was at Coldwater. I think it was called Interstate Speedway 1 or something like that at the time. Won a few championships there. Moved to Jackson Speedway because they shut down. A little bigger track, concrete. Raced there till I was about 12, and we started building a street stock. My dad actually had a truck we were getting ready to build, and we were going to race that at 40 for my first car. They didn't like that idea because of the rules back then, so we had some carts or something we traded for another street stock from a guy that was at Kalamazoo. We built that, and that's where I made my debut at Kalamazoo at 13, or M40 at 13. Raced there for half the season. I think Steve Brown was the owner, and they closed down, and then we switched to Kalamazoo for the rest of that year. Raced there for a few more years. Went to Springport. I think it was 2015 or 2014. Ran the ABCs over there. Won that championship. Raced late model following year, and then we went to Oregon full time in 2023. Won the sportsman championship over there, and then we just been kind of racing around. Ran some CRA here and there. Been all over the place. Just trying to have fun. Grew up around the racetrack. I mean, we used to go to baseball games and race go-karts and then go to the Kalamazoo, watch my uncles race. It's that was my weekend since I was 5 years old. So that's all we know. So me and my cousins used to grab the popcorn boxes and put them on our arms and race around the bleachers underneath, crashing into each other. So, there's some of those memories will, never go away. So, other than that, hobbies, hunting, we like hunting, play slow pitch softball on the weeks. Just try to keep myself busy because I'm not busy enough already, Work wise, I'm an arborist, which is, tree worker. And
Well, I know you had quite the family legacy too. Just, I didn't realize, well, I guess I realized, but I sometimes forget that you're connected with the Bozels, and that's something that watching some people share the video over the weekend. Andy Bozell Jr. was one to share. I'm like, oh, I forgot that.
Yeah, it's easy when the last names don't line up. But Andy and Jeff, my uncles, Phil, Bryce, Mason, cousins. Trish and Craig was even a cousin down in your way down there in Indiana. So it's a family affair for sure. So it's nice to have them if you have questions and whatnot. And as I said, it's a family thing.
So what do you enjoy racing? Because, again, you've been successful in a lot of different classes. And, again, you've raced with, top names from all over. I mean, I know the field was small on Saturday, but there weren't pushovers in that race. You had a defending champion there. You've had cars that won in Ohio a couple different times. So what have you enjoyed jumping in?
Oh, that's a tough one. Each one has its own special little, piece, I would say. We start with like the street stocks. There's nothing else you can get in. You can beat doors with each other, and still after the race, be friends, talk about it, not have to worry about, killing the car setup wise or, wrecking it and then, the $1,000 a corner to fix it throughout the week. You take the hammer and put the body panel in the grass and beat it out and go back at it. Temple cars, that was fun when we did the traveling with the CRA. That was an awakening. A lot of money in that. We did what we could, and we had fun. That was the most important thing. We did a lot of cool things. Raced Bristol, went to Jacasa up in Canada. That was pretty fun. Lucas Oil, that was probably one of my favorite tracks. Pretty big track down there in Indianapolis. And then our newer adventure is the mod. We haven't had that out very much. We need to get some more practice in it, but it's basically a street stock with the late model motor in it. So it's pretty wild. But as I said, they all have their special little piece that I like jumping into. But it's nice being able just to jump in a street stock and weekly and just, go out and beat doors with people and, have a good time.
So you had a great run on Saturday at Russell's M40 Speedway. The car count certainly wasn't what we had hoped to, but the Wheelman, they do honestly do a great job. They try hard for what they do. What was it like to pick up the win, the first one out of the box this year?
Yeah, we were joking on the way to track. It's usually when we hit opening night for a track, when we do hit opening night, we do really well. I mean, we've won a Galesburg opener. I think it was either Spartan or somewhere else over there. We won that opener. Going into the race, we whole new front end package on this car. It's my last year's car, and no laps. We didn't know. Unloaded fairly good, so I was pretty happy with that. And then started seeing some times. It was off a little bit. Then we got into the heat race, and I kind of got stuck in traffic, but I wasn't too worried about it because we had the little motor in, and it's just more of a momentum thing. And you have to keep hitting the brakes. It's just you can't get that run. So luckily in the feature, it came. They got the stuff straightened out for us, and the car came alive. And it just when the car hugs the bottom like that, I knew I'd be fine there. Just those nooks and crannies in the track that they don't know really. It's you can hit them just right, and after a while, you can just coast around there. I mean, I don't even know if I hit the brake pedal after I lost track of them in the mirror. So it's, you're just riding. I knew there was a good shot at it. We always run pretty good there. So, but yeah, the car count sucks. I wish the rules were a little bit, similar so we have more cars. But Will does a great job of promoting it, and he's trying. I give him that. He risked a lot to run this thing, so there's a lot of money there. So. Hats off to that. And then hopefully here in the next, few years, we can kind of get the rules a little bit closer and, more of a Michiana series type deal, and we can get more cars weekly.
Pop in for JD, Jonathan Dixon. You may know him. He raced at Super Shoe last year, had, I think he went through 2 fire suits, if I remember right, JD, but incredible flagger, incredible flagman, does not stay still in one spot. He just energy, like if he was a battery, he'd be able to power a lot of things for a long time. But anyways, I can't think of the world of him enough. But he has a question for you. He says, I see the 5. What's the story of the number 56 on the wall? Did you change your number? If so, what's the history behind the numbers?
Yeah, so obviously a number on a car is basically a driver. You know them for the numbers. So the 56 on the wall is actually Jerry and his dad. He's ran that. This is his shop. We just kind of all work out of it. Group effort here. But no, I've been 5 my whole life. I have ran 56 for him a few times. I think even a 40 maybe. I don't know where that came from. But yeah, 5. My dad had that when he started. I don't know. I think he got it because he was a Terry Labonte fan, and it just came about that way. And I often joke around because I know my Uncle Jeff got 11 from 8 plus 3 from my grandpa, and then I also joke 8 minus 3 is 5, so that's kind of a joke there. But yeah, it's just always been 5. Other than that, there's no rhyme or reason. So
do your cars have names?
Oh yeah, they got to earn their names, but they all have names. The one we raced last week or Saturday, that one's Amber, or Carmen. So that's actually a Buick Electra. And the old, I think it was show host or something, Carmen Electra or something like that. That's how that got that name. So, and this new one, it's gonna make its debut Friday. A little nervous about that. That one's called Knuckles. So we'll see what she can bring or he can bring out. So it's the first boy car, and then our modified, that one's called she's called Haley. So we'll see. Hopefully get that out here in the next month or so, and hopefully she's not as ornery as she has been. So
because where have you raced the modified? I'm trying to remember. I think Springport, if I remember correctly, one time. I could be wrong. I know I had a camera on it once, but so where have you brought the not street stock? We know where you brought the modified.
Yeah, so modified, we've raced. I think we've been to Kalamazoo 1 or 2 times with that. There was a really low car count that night. It was one of the first races with it. But the first race with it was at Berlin. I think we finished 5th or 6th with the Midwest Mod Tour. And then we've been to Owasso with it for the hot shoe. We've been to Whittemore and Spartan. and I know I'm missing another one in there. But there's only been a handful of races. Still trying to learn it. Driving it's another thing too. So uh, each car, class I should say, has a difference in how you drive them. So trying to figure out the weight ratio to the motor size, and at the end of the day they have stock brakes on them. So you basically have street stock brakes on a modified that's going twice as fast. So getting that trust to go in the corner that's going to stick. You gotta work up to that.
Well, I was going to ask that because a lot of fans may not realize that, and that's why I get a lot of people who talk about like my onboard cameras, because once I found the spot where to put them, that's where I just kind of put them all, unless the driver says something specific.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that I get a lot of fans say. I didn't realize like how it was to drive a car. Like they watch Bryce Bozell wheeling and how he was wheeling it. Then you got Bobby Stremme driving with one hand at New Paris. And you have all these different things. And so I was going to ask, like, for people who may not realize like the true difference of, they go, well, that's like a late model, or the modified is like a street stock. Well, they're still very different.
Yeah, you jump into late model, the wheel input in one of them is way less. Obviously, you have bumps and everything else that plays a factor. You get in a street stock, I mean, you're sawing on that thing most of the time, unless you're dialed in. But you get watch your in cars. I mean, they're almost turning right more than left sometimes. And it's just the weight ratio and everything else. It just you slide through the corners instead of drive. So yeah, there's a lot of difference. I mean, if you start watching some of the in cars versus each other, you could start picking up on some of that. And I mean, even probably some foot control with braking stuff. If you had cameras on that, it would be totally different.
I haven't been that brave yet.
So with the Wheelman victory this weekend, you moved to Kalamazoo. What's your plan for 2026? Are you just going to pick some races to race at? Are you going to follow a series? Are you going to pick a track?
Yeah, that's
pick the races?
Yeah, we don't know. We're gonna week by week. That's how we roll. So obviously it started out pretty good. So we'll probably hit Jennerstown next with them. Just it's a new track. We usually do pretty good on those long. I think that's a 5/8 mile track. So we do pretty well on those longer tracks. But yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna go race the new car mostly at Kalamazoo, probably M40 some in there. We're going to hit the few races at Kalamazoo with the modified, and I think there's one or two at Berlin we're going to try to hit. And then at the end of the year, hopefully they have Michigan Cup. That's always a favorite. And then possibly we're going to go back up to Kinross up in the UP for Fair Week and hit that show. So we got family up there, and I like to go up there. That's a cool track up there. So I think the Reveal the Hammer's going to go there a few weeks if there's no more snow up there. So hopefully that's all gone for them.
Well, speaking of tracks, since you said that, right, about Ken Ross, JD again, he's hot tonight with questions. What's your favorite track of all the tracks you have ran?
I mean, my favorite, Lucas Oil is probably pretty fun. You can just, ride the wall. There's nothing like that. You can hear the rock click off the wall. It's just a weird feeling. Jacasa, that was pretty fun. That was all brand new pavement, smooth, wide. You just go, kind of like a Wasco. But yeah, I think I'd have to lean towards track-wise, be Lucas Oil. But it's also hard to bet against Berlin. Berlin is such a driver's track, and you learn a lot every time you're out there. It's not as easy as it looks to get around that place. There's definitely one of those tracks where you have to stay off the gas to go fast. It's hard to explain, but you get in the gas too soon, you're going to be tight and it's going to be slower. So I got to follow a few people around there and pick up pointers, and we gained a lot. So that's one I look forward to going to.
So you talk about this year. Let's go back way in the back. We asked this question to Evan. You have a lot of family that has raced in motorsports, so we're going to take them out of the equation. Growing up, other than your family, who is a racer that you idolized?
Man, it's hard to say because that's it's who you grew up rooting for. So, I know a lot of the times when I go, starting to get a little bit older and kind of understood more of the driving stuff. I knew street stocks would be one of the first classes I would get into. So I like watching, Toby and Lloyd always, had great battles, made it look fun. So yeah, I'd have to go with that. But if you want to talk NASCAR wise, Mark Martin was my guy. So he's
That's
a
a
legend
big-
in my book.
So
Him and
and
Ricky
then-
Rudd. So you don't hear him very much.
No, you don't. And then here we're gonna put you on the spot where just like we did with Evan. What's your most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you at a racetrack?
Well, this was for a good cause. Well, it was. I think Race for Kids' Sake. It might have been a Relay for Life Cancer, but I had dressed up as a cheerleader to get in a dunk tank, and that circulated around the tracks for a little bit. So it was for a good cause, but we're gonna go with that. So
Fair answer.
I try to stay out of the embarrassing stuff. So don't make yourself look like a fool.
Then, of course, to have such a great race operation, car owner, what are some of the crew members and sponsors that help you out?
Yeah, so obviously I gotta thank Jerry. We do a lot in his shop. He does a lot for me. Behind the scenes, a lot of people probably don't know. My wife, she does a lot too. She's been working a lot of third shift now, so she's been out here a little bit less. Hopefully get her in one of these cars this year, sooner or later. It's hard being the newbie at work and getting those weekends off. So, little Jerry over here, he's over here in the corner, a little shy to get on camera. He does tires and whatever else we need him to do. Wash the car, clean trailer, load, all the above. So clutch bleeder, brake bleeder, little guy stuff. Sponsor wise, I gotta think the Queued Up Catering. That's Brian. The open pit, West Coast style barbecue. You just gotta have it. I don't even know how to explain it. Jane Pennings with Jakeway Realtors. She's now she originally sold us our house first, and now we're in the market for another one. So she's been with us. She's probably done 3 or 4 of my friends' houses. So she does a really good job. The DNS Auto, that's Jerry's dad, up here in Kalamazoo. He runs the auto shop. Does small parts stuff too for like the racers. We try to stock rivets, body braces, stuff like that, radiators, so stuff that might happen on a Friday and you need for a Saturday. We're gonna have it because obviously things isn't open no more, and you never know what's gonna happen. So he does a lot behind the scenes that he doesn't get recognized for, and I hope we can get him out again this year. So it's always fun to be able to race against those guys, especially the ones that are getting to that age where they're not out there much. You don't get that respect for them until you race against them. You're like, wow, this is, I get to race against this guy. It's like Andy, or, it's always fun to race against them, or anybody that's, you looked up to racing as growing up, and they're still racing. It's, I don't know, that makes my night anyways. So, and then, who else we got? I know I'm missing something. AFCO and Longacre, there's a newer partnership with us. Bill Workman, he was our Port City rep for when we raced the Port City cars through CRA and some of the local stuff. He jumped off that and went to AFCO and Longacre, and then he hit us up because he's more of a small team guy. He likes to see the smaller guys do better than the bigger guys. So he's helping us out a lot. And then, we're trying to get them more information because they want to get their street stocks back on the AFCO stuff and get their product out there. So we've been doing what we can to get that out there. And I think we've switched a lot of guys over to AFCO shocks, and, they're getting pretty happy with that. And that's been a really good partnership with them, and hope, keep growing that. So, but yeah, it's, you got to think of them all. Obviously, you can't do it without the sponsors, and all the crew help. So I know my brother, he helps out when he can. He has the front wheel drive he races with your series, Drew. Hopefully he has that done sooner than later, but priorities, So, but yeah, it's a family affair, like I said earlier, with the sponsors. Can't thank them enough.
So, real quick to talk about sponsors, there's a lot of race car drivers that don't take pride in their sponsors. They take a check, or they just think they should automatically sponsor them. What do you do as a race team to maintain those partnerships, as we call them with our traveling series, for not just 1 year, but the years upcoming?
Yeah, sponsorship, that's a hard deal. I mean, sponsorship now is basically a who you know and who you are, I feel. To get a new sponsor is, you got to have your stuff in line. You got to know what you're saying, say the right words. But once you get in there, you get them to the track. It's, it's a whole new ball game. So like cue it up, Brian. He's never been to the races, and he likes helping, and we got him out there, and he loves it. So same with Jane and with the Jake way. But yeah, so every year we kind of do just like a little sponsorship thing. We try to make up for them to hang on their wall or something, and we try to take them out to dinner or something, wine and dine type deal. So it's just you try to give back what you can. And I know I've been very bad with social media here in the last few years, and I've been trying to make it a better effort this year to put that out there. So you'll probably be seeing a lot more posts with the racing on my pages, just to try to help that out. And you never know. I've had people at the racetrack. I mean, this is probably my third or fourth year at Kalamazoo. Might have been my last year in a street stock. We had a guy walk up and wanted me to take the hood off. Didn't know him. I didn't know him. My dad knew him, but he walked up, seen how everything was ran on the car, and he gave me $1,500 just because he liked how the car looked and he didn't want to be on there. So it's just, you just got to take pride in your stuff, and you never know who's going to be watching. So you just got to be ready for that moment, and just take care of your stuff. It goes a long way. Even with like taking care of your car. To win a race, you must finish first. So, and a lot of those guys, I think, forget that race. The first few laps as hard as they do. So, going back to this weekend, there's multiple times I could have went 3 wide earlier, but I knew, what the cars were. I knew, how this race is going to play out. You just take your time. You're not that lap doesn't pay anything. So, just keeping them clean. That kind of stuff goes a long ways.
No, and you had on it, and that's what I was looking for, is keeping your sponsors involved with your race team. A lot of teams don't do that. They just take a check, and I'm not being mean.
Yeah, no,
it's just a fact of life. But then the next year they wonder why they don't partner with them. Getting them involved at the racetrack, and I'm glad that you brought that up, making them feel a part of the team, getting them out to the racetrack to show them that there actually are people out there. There's, some good nights, 2,000 people there. On a bad night, maybe 900, 800 people. So we're going to get more of a roundtable discussion on that in the future. But thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, and it's sponsorship's not all about money either. I mean, there's a lot that with product on a car. AFCO gives us a hell of a deal on stuff. And we take that, and then we also make sure we're under book price for a lot of these guys, so they get a deal still too. Because we're trying to get back for the racer. We like to try to make somewhat affordable again. So I know we've had a few sponsors that we haven't got anything from, but we still keep them on the car because we're we like that relationship. Maybe they get a financial better spot. You never know. So it's kind of our thing to give back a little bit. So just keeping them involved is pretty big.
Well, I know you've done that for me, right? You put on a top row sticker almost every year on all the cars, and we know you're not getting my lunch money. You haven't shaken me down yet, but
those in-car cameras, Lewis, I can't tell you how much you don't realize like what you can see in the car that you don't see in the car. So it's helped me a lot with my wife, trying to teach her some things with racecraft, running up on cars, wheel input. She can see the difference and tell me when it's tighter. So, that to me is worth more than, a check. So, I'm glad that's why I jumped on tonight. I'm a supporter, I know it's last minute, but I made sure to try to make time to get on here with you and, try to get back a little bit. So,
and you've certainly done it. And your brother, Ryan, I mean, he was always hugely supportive over at Hartford. Mm-hmm. It's always nice to run into him when I can. And, even last year, I think it was last year's Super Shoe or maybe it was the year before, where you and Kaylee swept, the feature and did that. And so I know it's just one of those things that, like, when you're saying that, it's like, I mean, that's where I always appreciate drivers like you who, you've even come to races because that's where I was going to be. And that was pretty cool too, where it's like, you don't always think about those kind of things, but, that's where a lot of people, when they talk about money, and I always say, like, but there's more value a lot of times than that money. Money's helpful, because there's BROKE. But at the same time, when I'm in the Cassopolis drive-through on Saturday night, just trying to get fat and sassy with, fries and a hamburger, and I have crew members who are coming over going, we're fans, and they're taking photos. My husband won't believe that you were here. I need to get a photo to prove. Like, I'm like, that was so cool.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like, that is worth more than money.
For,
Right.
for sure. Yep. And I've had probably, I think, 3 notifications for a friend group that's come on since I've been on here. So, publicity is never bad. So if get your face out there, get the cars out there, it's always good. So we try to do what we can for you guys. And you know what? I mean, there's a lot behind the scenes that people don't realize that you guys do. So
Yep.
we always appreciate that.
36 hours dedicated just to the M40 event, and that doesn't
Yep.
include all the promoting and everything else before that.
Right.
I'm like, that's a full-time job.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I mean, Drew does it with his. I mean, he's had multiple series. So I mean, I've ran a few of your races. They're always fun. I think my favorite's when we had that enduro at Gingerman. I wish we'd have done that again. That was a blast.
Yeah, my ego got the best of me with the track manager, but we're trying to resolve that.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll see it another day. But
I'll be there. That's the case. So,
with that being said, we certainly appreciate your time today.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll see you at Corrigan Oil with the Wheelman series coming up in June.
yeah, you'll definitely be seeing me there unless something happens in between. But that'd be a hard one to miss for us. So,
with that, I mean, Buju, Lewis, do you got anything?
I had questions for Rich Bowl.
That's where, again, I messaged Tyler pretty late because Rich messaged me and I said, okay, who do I want to get on? And I thought it'd be really cool to get a feature winner on. And so that's why I reached out to Tyler first, because, just the racing family that you have and everything that you've done to be a huge supporter of me. It's like, who can I go to? So I went to you. Right. And then I had backup plans if you said, no, can't make it happen, which I would have totally understood. Right. Because literally 5 o'clock.
Right.
When I posted the graphic for the show of, hey, here's what to look forward to tonight. So I was waiting for Tyler's confirmation on yay or nay and had backup plans. But that's where I appreciate you taking the time tonight to come on, even though it was last minute. I know sometimes that doesn't work. And we're not usually last minute, but it's one of those, hey, we have a slot, let's see if we can get someone. And within about a 24-hour period, we've been averaging almost 2,000 viewers within a 24-hour period. So it is, it's a lot of exposure with thousands of views. So that means all your sponsors are going to get a little bit of a shout out here and all that too. So
for sure.
Yeah. And you're a good racer, and that's where it's nice to bring you
maybe
on.
a little bit.
Well, watching that again, that 3-wide move when you went to do it, and I'm like, don't. And I think in my head a lot, don't do that, because I've seen that go bad so many times, right?
Yeah.
Sure enough, you made it through, and I looked at Frank, and I just kind of kept recording because I'm like, or not Frank. Oh shoot, who was their announcer? I can't think. He raced at Lorraine, but Yep. I looked at him, and he's just smiling, having the time of his life. So I'm like, we're good,
Yeah.
Pretty incredible. So again, congratulations on your win this past Saturday.
Appreciate it, and hopefully we have a little bit of luck maybe with this car this week, and then we can do a follow-up or something next week. So you'll have some questions ready by then.
There we go. Sounds like a plan.
Perfect.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Tyler, so much for joining us tonight, and I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Yep, we'll see you guys.
All right.
Thanks,
thank
man.
you again.
Yep, see you.
So again, as a reminder for next week, just because I know we're getting close to the 9 o'clock hour, I just want to remind that we will have Aaron Hapner, the New Paris Shark, fresh off of the Night of Destruction. That is this Saturday at the New Paris Speedway, 5 p.m. kickoff. That's kind of, I call it the appetizers. That'll be Burnout, spectator racing, all that kind of deal. And then right around 6 o'clock is when the New Paris Fire Department fire truck will make its first appearance of the night and come and water down the arena of chaos, as I call it. And so, or arena of destruction, but it will be chaos. And so that's Aaron Hapner. And then again, DJ McCotter will come on at 7:35, 6:35 his time. And then the Midwest Truck Series, they'll be coming on from the Wisconsin racing scene at 7:05 their time, 8:05 here.
Is that my buddy Drew?
Yes. They were asking for publicity, and I reached out and I said, well, I'm not a national media, but 9.1 million people saw my page last year, so maybe we can do something. But other than that, one more reminder, too, for Buju and I, this Thursday, we're back live on the Thursday Night Throttle. There's no thunder tonight. I was waiting for Captain as we were doing that. But again, that's this Thursday where it's a shorter show. I know last week we went a little bit longer, but we were answering the questions. So we'll have a question of the night, and we're going to preview the upcoming events for the weekend. So definitely we start at 7 o'clock, and we hope to be off about 7:45. Obviously, we'll talk about the Intimidator 100 quite a bit. So we may not have as many tracks that we're showing the schedule for this week. We'll have more of a quick rundown so that we can have conversation around things that we're looking forward to over the race weekend. So again, if you can help share not only this out, but it is on Spotify for those who don't get to see it live or aren't on social media or don't want to watch it on YouTube. It is on Spotify and also Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. So that's why there's no save the date on this, because we have a show on Thursday. So that's when we're going to give it away. But other than that, anything that you guys want to cover over the last few minutes before we wrap it up?
Well, I did see that Gerald Summerix was watching. That's James's dad. So I want to send out a congratulations to James for his first ever win on asphalt. He's won on dirt many times, but he's going to be a contender in the Midwest Dirt Series. We had 10 dirt guys, 7 asphalt guys, which is good. We did give our Midwest Dirt guys a throw-out night for the guys that were not ready.
Yeah.
So James got a little step up on some heavy competition. Our defending champion will be back this year, Michael Workman. I was kind of surprised he didn't show up, but he didn't put an entry in. The Crown Vic race, thank you, Lewis, for everything you and Ron did. It was great. The crowd, I mean, if you count the popcorn vendors, the guys on the hill, the back gate, all the employees, we probably had close to 1,000 people on the property. So, yes, I am counting the popcorn vendors and the car parkers, but
hey, they were there.
They were there. The 32 officials for the Wheelman series, they were there. It was a great show. We thank the Russell family for it. It's always enjoyable working with them, their entire team. I ran a little bit smaller staff. I want to send a big thank you to Taylor Sexton. She came in a little quicker than I thought she did. I think she took over during my heat races. That helped out tremendously. She helped fix the payout issue. Other than that, just some wrong names on some envelopes, but she caught it and saved me a lot of money. So a big thank you to Taylor. The entire staff, the scorers, the gatekeepers, it was a team effort. We kept the show moving. I know some people don't like the family events that we do in intermission, but that's just an Andy Dack show. You're going to have to get used to it. The Juicemen, the Wheelman juice boxes, the lawnmowers, that's just what make our shows what they are. There was very little downtime. And finally, thank you to everybody that donated. It was about $730 that was donated to Woody. We kicked in some extra money from Rick Nick and Accent Roofing, so we took over $1,000 to his dad on Sunday to donate to them. And anybody that is watching this, don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but Woody does need his rest. So if you were planning on visiting him at the hospital, please don't. The family has requested it. It's just family only. It's not a bad thing, so don't get worked up or upset. It's just he needs his rest, and it takes a lot out of him. So there will be a time Woody will be able to get to see some people, but the family will let you know when that is. But thanks to everybody for making that show a success this weekend.
Yeah, well, and again, the Crown Vics had a weekend. They finally got that big show that I think a lot of people have dreamed about at 2 different places. Right? A lot of drivers went home with some extra money, and at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? That's why I did it the way that I did. And from the moment I called Juju and announced the payout, I had the same messaging from day one that there are a lot of places that just focus on the first place. How many times have you even seen a Buju where someone will donate money and it just is to the winner, and the winner all of a sudden gets piled up with $1,000, and second place is like like 100, right? Or and that's why when I called Juju, I said I want to spread this out, because I got that a lot at Springport, where it's like let's not do that. Let's spread it out throughout the field. So a lot of drivers made a lot of money this weekend, which is hopefully going to help them, because I know that's a big season race. A lot of cars weren't ready, so hopefully that'll give them a good head start. So this weekend is busy. We got Friday at Kalamazoo Intimidator. I think one of the only Friday tracks running around in the area. Kankakee Speedway starts this Friday too. For the dirt people, I think Grundy still has another week.
You're right.
Yep. And then obviously on Saturday we have the New Paris Speedway Night of Destruction, and then on Sunday We have the Kalamazoo mini wedges. They'll be kicking off. So, for people looking for some mini wedge racing action or to go see the future stars, I mean, just look at tonight. We had Evan Verduin, mini wedge racer, now doing big things in the street stocks. We had, you have Anthony Foote Jr., who's running a late model, mini wedge graduate, right? And, Taylor Sexton, she's a quarter midget. So, if you ever get out to the Kalamazoo Quarter Midget Club, there's a lot of young talent in this area that we can go and support because it's not too far that they're going to be on the big car or big tracks one of these days, wherever that may be. But again, it is a great week. Weather-wise, you could not ask for better. So I'm excited for this weekend. I have a lot to do. No more late nights. After editing for 24 hours, I've retired from that method and probably won't duplicate that exact thing again. But everything got pumped out pretty quick. So yeah, I figure that's not too bad, Buju. Within less than 48 hours, everything was on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna crack some stuff open when I get in the house tonight. It's probably what I'll fall asleep to. No offense. That's not saying your stuff's boring.
No.
That's background. I enjoy race cars when I go to sleep.
Yeah,
yeah.
I can wear the Napa hat because I need a Napa. But yeah, no, I quite a few people. They said, all I hear is my kids playing your song all night. Like, well, catchy song, I can't help it. But that's kind of like I should post that again where it's like Sounds of Summer. I think I did where it's just audio of a race car, and that a lot of people like that. So it was a front wheel drive, so that's up your alley. But maybe I should do like the purr of an Outlaw late model or something.
Yeah, street stock. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you in street stock? Say quite a bit of audio. I just need to pull it, but anyways, I don't know what that is. But
wasn't me. So
let me do a soapbox. It's not a big soapbox, and we don't have a lot of people watching at this very moment. But for people who watch back, there's stuff going on about photography and not pictures of cars and everything. It's day one, people. I was having messages Saturday night. When's the program going to be out? I'm not even home yet. And that's not everybody. I know there's.
I thought I was going to get a couple days off at 12:45 on the night of the race. After we're done, I'm doing sponsorship stuff, wanting to go to sleep, then wake up, and then I got to do my points, my paperwork, my social media on Sunday. And next thing I know, after delivering money to Woody, it's like 7:45, and I was out. And I woke up today, and I have 38 different projects that I will be working on until about 4 a.m. tonight. But so race season is here. I was hoping to have a couple weeks off because we got a month in between our events, but I was wrong. I guess I'll be burying me when I'm done working, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot behind the scenes. I mean, even Buju, you're getting into video and editing and everything. And even though I know you use CapCut, you still got to put it all together. So CapCut things like, everybody has a personal life. We gotta, give people time to get things done. I know
what is a personal life?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not quite sure what that is right now.
I know we're in an urgency era, but I mean, just think for Top Row, how much content not only did I produce within 24 hours, but then we're 2 hours tonight, 1 hour ish on Thursday. That's 3 hours of live content on top of everything else that's being produced. How many people are doing it? Sabrina helps with the cameras and everything, but like all the graphics, all the prep, all that's that I don't have editing help, although Matthew Elsie Jr. did offer one time. So I might call him again and be like, you're now the chief editing content producer. Here's the keys, run with it. But for onboards, he was looking to do that, and I might just say, here's 17 of them. Have fun. I'll give you all the graphics. You can have all the graphics, you can have everything. Here, go to town, but I know he's busy doing a lot, so he might not have time for that. But just remember, everybody on this screen has a personal life too that we sometimes get to live.
Drew tried to give me another job tonight. Let's not forget that.
Oh, you're getting another job. You're getting one.
You have the voice, though, Boozer. You have the voice. I mean, you have that radio voice that you need to get I know you did mini wedges, but if there's a track that's looking for an announcer. I don't know. I got to point this way. I think it is. It's opposite on.
Yeah, I did that earlier.
But Buju, you have a gift for it. So definitely need to, and you have a passion, and that goes a long ways too. Because
if announcing's not your passion, then don't burn yourself out. But at the end of the day, I was being serious. This sport has a dying breed of having entertaining announcers. Anybody can pick up a microphone. There's not many Jason Seltzers. There's not many Franks left in this world. They're, just to be frank, they're just a guy that's like an auctioneer. Number 75, $5. $5, he picks up the win. And that's just it.
You're not wrong.
You have the energy. You have the. You're probably older than I think you are, but at the end of the day,
correct.
there's not many. I used to be that young guy. I used to want to be the announcer. Now I became a promoter, and I'm kind of. The question came up is when you're going to retire. I say that every year, but I can't quit. It's a sickness, and it's coming sooner or later because this is a very. I was talking to another promoter today and just tired of the drama, and it had nothing to do with our event this weekend, but it's I'm gonna throw the photographers under the bus, but not today. I don't know what's going on, but stuff like that. We're over it, man. If you would have sat in my driver's meeting, I took 10 minutes to go out of my way to give them advice on how they should treat a track in Muskegon that behind closed doors, it's not their business. At the end of the day, if that racetrack is not a racetrack, they have nobody to blame but themselves. Not the drivers that were in that meeting, but that could get that message through to them. And it being mental health awareness, I said, you don't even know what that other person is dealing with that is taking all that heat. I mean, I've seen it personally. Like a very good friend of mine, unfortunately, took his own life. The guy that we did the race for, we never saw it coming. He was a tough, old, gruff bastard that would be always the one breaking up the fight. And that's racing is going to be its own enemy. And they can say what they want about social media. It is a great influence. But the people that say, oh, it's the track promoter's fault. No, it's everybody in general. It takes a bad track promoter and a bunch of evil people. But at the end of the day, just let the bad track promoter go away. He will weed himself out. He will lose his money. He will be out, and he'll sell the racetrack, or it'll just close. But at the end of the day, we got to remember. Now Lewis has got me on my soapbox, but you just treat people with respect. Stop arguing about whose photos or what. And if you have an issue, send the person a professional message that's kill them with kindness. And even if they're an asshole to you, just go the other way. It's not worth the fight. There, I'm done.
No, but that's where I know the photographers are being publicly attacked, and it's just not. It's not. Again, it's not fair. Nobody does it on purpose. Galesburg last year, I was almost dehydrated, and I had to walk away for a moment just to go get water, so I didn't see a class on there. But so I didn't get photos. I'm one person, especially at Galesburg. Sabrina helps with onboards and all that, but she's doing Sabrina things. She can't always help me, and so it's like. Again, we don't do it on purpose. It's not on purpose. We're all just trying to do our best with what we have, the equipment we have, the personnel we have, right? Boozoo, you're one person. Eventually, you're going to start getting that. How come you didn't do this? I am one person. I have not figured out how to be an octopus yet and have, all these arms doing all these different things. So, again, that's, on most days, I'm onboarding, all that.
I'll leave you with this. I don't put the money up that a racetrack owner does each and every week in their $1 million properties or $500,000 properties. But I'll tell you this, I put a lot more money than even some traveling series promoters do by renting and leasing these facilities. You don't have a leg to say anything in regards to it until you put your own money up and know what they go through. I do it. I don't do it on a scale of a Randy Ritchie or Tim and Leah with the World of Outlaws, or I've done it one time. I learned my lesson. I'll never do it again. That's why I'm very, very protective of the promoters that are out there, good, bad, or indifferent. There's 90% good, 10%. You know what? If you complain on a dirt social media page that $100,000 check didn't get paid, it doesn't matter. I mean, it does. It sucks for that race team. But all you're doing is you're throwing other racing people under the bus, and it's harder for us to get sponsors. All right, I will shut up because I'm going to probably get some hate mail now. So,
Well, we're not live on your page, so you get away with it tonight, right? It'll come back. No, I'm kidding. But
No, it's just I get tired of it, Lewis.
no, it does get exhausting.
And I don't care if you like me or not. I have the passion for the sport, and I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna do things wrong, but at the end of the day, at least I can own my mistakes and say, "Hey, that wasn't the right thing to do." A lot of people can't do that.
Yeah. But what we can do is this Thursday, the Thursday Night Throttle at 7 p.m. Again, if you want to know what's coming up on the weekend, Buju and I will talk all the storylines heading into the Friday night. So I just and Saturday. So I just wanted to do that. Big shout out one more time for Thursday Night Throttle. Other than that, anything else good for the group?
I think we covered it.
We're good. Thank you. Have a good night.
Oh yeah, well, and I know we're all tired too, right? So again, thank you. I want to do a shout out, Sheldon. Thank you. You've been here, I think, every episode. So he had the onboard camera, I think, for the first time this week, and I can't remember if I had Sheldon before, but he was one of the first to sign up. So again, I know David was on here. JD, thank you again. Like I said, I can't get enough of the world of you. I'm so glad.
JD was my co-flagman this weekend. I had a good time hanging out with JD.
So you know the energy. I mean, he's like an energy drink. He just doesn't slow down, and that's what makes it so fun. Is just watching him, do his thing. I know Andrea was on here. We had Brendan, of course, is on here. I want to thank Crashers Adventure, Bill Russell. Again, congratulations, Bill, on Hometown Hero. We had Billy Edwards on here. So, and I know I'm missing names, and that's not on purpose, but. Again, I think it's another action-packed episode with a lot to do. So, again, I will be mindful and purposeful of not posting on top of this until about noon tomorrow. So it keeps it out there for people to see. And then, of course, it'll be on Spotify by midnight, maybe. Spotify's slow sometimes. And then Spotify does its thing and sends it out to all the other places. So, again, if you know someone who's not on Facebook and didn't see it tonight and they don't want to go to YouTube and they use other things, definitely use that. Other than that, Buju and I are back on Thursday. The three of us are back next Monday. And I hope everybody finds a racetrack somewhere this weekend. Until then, turn left, go fast, because Buju, we will
see you at the races.
See you at the races. Have a great night, everybody.